summer. We get ready for just the summer months and the need for transportation and just wanting to make sure the resources are available, and there is some great information that Destiny has to share. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce Destiny, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. I am so excited to talk to you guys about what we have to offer here at Gwinnett County Transit. So without further ado, we are going to go ahead and get started. Oh, and by the way, my title is the Resources and Marketing Coordinator, and I'll provide you guys my contact information towards the end. All right, so just to give you guys a little bit of background, if you were not aware of Gwinnett County Transit, we began our commuter express service back in 2001, and that is our service that runs Monday through Friday and picks up from one of 3 park and ride locations during peak times to get folks to downtown Atlanta and Decatur. So it's primarily for folks who are commuting to work, but we do have Georgia State students and some other folks that use that service as well. The next year in 2002 is when we began our local bus service. So that remains within the county, and we currently operate in Lawrenceville, Duluth, Peachtree Corners, Norcross, and Lilburn. And that is expanding as well. So we probably we're hoping by the 4th quarter of this year, we will have our service operating in Snellville. So we're hoping to, we've already acquired some buses, as well as we're planning out the actual routes. And we're in the midst of doing all of that now. So we're very excited about that new service in Snellville. And we are also looking to expand it back into Buford, as well as, I believe, we are looking to bring commuter service to Decula at some point. So we are excited about some of the expansion that we have going on. That same year in 2002, we also started our paratransit service, which is federally required according to the Americans with Disabilities Act. And that basically kind of complements the local bus service for folks who do not have the ability to ride fixed route service. So if they have a disability that prohibits them from being comfortable or being able to ride on a regular local bus, this is a service that we operate in conjunction with that. I already mentioned that we have 3 park and rides. So the park and ride locations that we currently have are the Indian Trail Park and Ride location in Norcross. We also have the Sugarloaf Mills Park and Ride in Lawrenceville, and that's right across from Sugarloaf Mills Mall. And then we also have the I-985 Park and Ride, which is right next to the Golden Corral off of 985 and not far from Mall of Georgia. So that's currently where we have our park and ride locations, but we are growing that as well. We are looking into building additional park and ride locations. So that will be coming soon. As far as our ridership, we like to look at pre-pandemic numbers because obviously we are still in the midst of a pandemic and that has had an impact on our ridership levels. But pre-pandemic, we were getting 1,550,568 people where they needed to go. So we were very proud of that number, and we're slowly but surely just creeping back up to that level. All right, so we have something called our travel training program, which is where I get on the bus with you and show you how to ride the system. And this program is free. It's on an actual bus. Depending on the number of people who are interested in riding, we can reserve a bus if it's like a large group. If it's just one-on-one or just a friend or a family member along with you, we can do that on a regular active bus. And during that session, you'll learn how to pay your fare, how to read a bus schedule, how to let your bus driver know you're ready to get off of the bus, how to use our MyStop mobile app, which is what we use for real-time tracking of your bus. We are also on Google Maps, so we help you learn how to use that tool as well in planning your trip. And we do a few other things. So it's definitely something that a lot of people are still learning about and have not been completely aware of. So we're very happy to share that with you today. And in the midst of that session, you will receive a free Breeze card, which is our fare system. So if you're familiar with MARTA, that is the fare system that they use. We are on that same system, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But also during the session, you'll receive free giveaways as well as some free snacks. So we like you to be comfortable and be ready for the session. All right, so we also provide half fare. Now, this is only on our local bus services, but if you qualify, which you'd have to be either 65 or older, a Medicare recipient, or disabled, you would be able to ride for $1.25 one way. So our normal fare is $2.50. So obviously that is half of that. I mentioned that the half fare is only on our local bus service, but if you, again, are not comfortable with riding our local bus service and you do qualify for the half fare, or you would want to, but you're not sure, that's when paratransit will come in, and I will talk about that in a bit. As far as the Breeze cards, just touching back on that, we do offer free transfers to MARTA as well. So as long as you have a Breeze card or a specific half fare Breeze card, you can actually ride our service and ride onto MARTA. You'd be able to make that transition and it would be free. So you'd pay, for example, if you're a half fare rider, you pay $1.25. And then once you've tapped your card on our service, and then you get to a MARTA station, for example, you would tap in to get there, and that tap would not charge you anything. So you can actually theoretically ride all the way from, let's say, the Sugarloaf Mills parking ride here in Lawrenceville all the way down to the airport for either $1.25 or $2.50, depending on if you qualify for half fare or not. So a lot of people don't know that, and that's a really, really good benefit to riding transit. So just something to keep in mind. Our paratransit service is curb to curb and door to door upon request. It is a shared ride service, so that means you may be on the vehicle or the shuttle with others who are riding that service as well. And again, it is only for folks who are eligible, and you have to have a disability in order to ride. We do have personal care attendants that can ride for free as well. So if that's something you're concerned about, you would be able to ride for free with the person who has the disability. I already mentioned that this is complementary to the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990. As far as the actual service radius of where we provide paratransit service, we create a service depending on where our bus stops are. So we can go 3/4 of a mile outside of wherever there is a bus stop, and that kind of creates that local radius within the county, and sometimes a little bit further out, depending on where it is. The cost for riding paratransit, if you qualify, is $4 one way. So you would be able to book your trip using our reservation service on the phone. You would be able to use that and take your trip from your starting location to wherever you're trying to go within that service radius, and that would only cost you $4 one way. As far as accessibility, all of our buses are accessible. They all have low floor and kneeling capabilities, so the bus can actually lower itself to make it easier for folks to get onto the vehicle. We also have ramps, so if someone has a mobility device like a wheelchair, they do have the capability to go ahead and get onto the bus. And we also have securement straps for wheelchairs as well. So for folks who have a wheelchair, the bus drivers are trained in making sure you are secured, so they will help you secure your wheelchair to the vehicle to make sure you're riding safely.
Do you have to be able to get on by yourself?
That's a great question. So if we're talking the local bus service, typically yes. Now, if that's an issue for you, that's when I would recommend paratransit. In that case, they would be able to help assist you. Good question. All right. So of course, we want to make sure people feel safe, but we also like to prompt the fact that they are able to maintain their own independence by riding transit. So in general, our service is very safe, and we do recommend that you are aware of your surroundings and you practice caution just like you would do in any setting. So we do maintain that, but we do have cameras on our vehicles. We do have an emergency button that the bus driver can press in any case of an emergency. And we rarely, if ever, have incidences like that. So it does not happen often, but we are prepared for different instances in case they do come up. As far as, being independent, that's the whole point. A lot of people, this is what they use in order to get to where they need to go because they have no other option. And so we pride ourselves in making sure that we are providing them with that option so they can maintain that independence. It's a good way to save money, good way to get rid of any wear and tear in your car, or at least kind of limit that a bit. And also, if you are interested in using the commuter bus service, we do have security detail that goes at the park and ride locations to make sure there's no suspicious activity happening with where you're parking your vehicle. All right, this is our customer service information. We do have our customer service office located in Duluth. So that is the address, and they are available at the time shown on the screen. And you can call them at 770-822-5010. And they are available for whatever it is you may need, whether it's trip planning. So say, for example, you are trying to plan your trip and you're looking at the Google Maps app and you're just confused. You don't know what you're doing. That's okay. We have our customer service representatives that are ready and prepared to help you plan out your trip. They also help you with half fare and paratransit eligibility, so they can help answer questions for you if you have them in regards to applying for those services. Of course, we accept comments, suggestions, complaints at that office as well. And they do so many more things. So we definitely recommend you keep that information in your phone, and they'll be able to help you at all times, or at least the times that are listed. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. We already had a good question in the midst of the presentation, but we welcome many more. So go ahead and let me know what you need.
Yeah, I had a question for you. You mentioned the travel training. Is that available
Yes.
also for the paratransit?
So it is not, and the reason being is that with paratransit, it's much more, it's similar to Uber, so it's much more attentive. The bus drivers can help you get onto the vehicle if you need it, and they also have a few more things that they're able to do. So with local bus service, it's not as attentive. Or maybe I shouldn't say attentive, maybe that's not the right word. There are a few more aspects to paratransit because it's for folks with disabilities that we are required to make sure we're taking care of. So because of that, we don't at least have a program that's focused on that, because they're very, knowledgeable and able to help you in many aspects, whether it's securing yourself or if you have any questions about anything, you can literally ask your bus driver for it. So it's not as, how do I put this? It's a little more hands-on with paratransit service as opposed to riding the local bus service.
Correct. Thank you for sharing that. If you wanted to have the travel training, you were mentioning for groups and one-on-one, but I'm thinking more so for like a group and maybe a school group.
Okay.
Have y'all done that before, or what would that look like?
Yes, we do it quite often. Actually, we just did one. We've had a few with Berkmar High School, and it's spanned up to about 30 participants. So we are prepared for that. We essentially just request the bus ourselves, and then I get on the vehicle. I have all the giveaways and the information and everything ready, and the bus driver goes wherever we have it planned for. So we can definitely accommodate that.
And would we contact customer service or yourself for that?
You would contact me.
Okay, I'm going to talk to you afterwards.
Destiny, does that mean if we were to contact you to go over kind of the mock ride,
Mhm.
would you be able to come outside of your service area?
I see. So for the travel training session, you mean?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So
ma'am.
it is only for wherever we have service. So we do travel trainings based on where our local service is, as well as our commuter service. So, and we do touch MARTA because we connect to MARTA. So that's essentially what that service helps educate you on. Wherever we don't have service, we would not, we would not have a travel training session for because we don't go there. So.
I apologize. I came in a little bit late. I know that from an article I read, you are developing that commuter service.
Mhm.
And where will it, I had heard Snellville, Lawrenceville, and Duluth.
Mhm.
Do you have any idea, not to ask you confidential information, but futuristically, how that's going to operate?
Sure. So once I know we have a couple of park and rides that are being constructed, or ones that we're looking into constructing, and once they operate, they would operate similarly to how we operate our current commuter bus service. So basically whenever it's a commuter bus service, it's for getting folks to downtown Atlanta. So essentially what that is wherever there is a park and ride, you would obviously come and bring your vehicle. You'd park your vehicle at the park and ride location. And then depending on the scheduled times of pickup in the mornings, you would get on the bus in the morning because that's when they pick up from the park and ride. And then it will take you to downtown Atlanta or Decatur. So for example, when I say Decatur, we have our Route 110, which goes to the Center for Disease Control, as well as Emory University. So we do serve that area. And you get on the bus from the park and ride, it's a straight shot. So there are no bus stops until you get to either Decatur or downtown Atlanta. So once you get to downtown Atlanta, for example, the first stop is the Civic Center MARTA station. And then there's a few more stops, and you can find all of our routes and schedules on our website, which is gctransit.com. So it has all of that information, but you would get off of the bus at one of the bus stops. And then in the afternoons, the service picks back up by coming straight to downtown Atlanta to pick folks up and then bring them back to the park and rides. And that's in the evenings, or the afternoons to the evenings. So that's how it works. We say it operates during peak times during Monday through Friday. So the new service where we're building park and rides, it will operate that same way. Does that answer your question?
I guess I'm curious. I know that when the commuter was in Snellville, there were stops around Snellville that in particular know
Are you referring to microtransit by chance?
I believe I must be.
Okay. So that's a totally different service, and we are bringing microtransit back as well. So that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. So microtransit we are beginning service with that as well at the same time that we are not the same time, about a couple months after we're beginning our new local bus service in Snellville. So we're looking at having local bus service in Snellville by the fourth quarter of this year. So definitely by the first quarter of next year is when we'll have the microtransit in operation in Snellville. So microtransit is similar to how we operate our paratransit service. The only difference is that it's for everyone. It's not just for folks with disabilities. So if you've been on Uber or Lyft, it's similar to how that operates, but it's just on that shuttle type vehicle that's similar to a paratransit vehicle. And that also has a specific service area. So we wouldn't be able to, if you're using microtransit, you would not be able to go outside of that service area if you're trying to use the microtransit service. So we'll have it outlined, we'll have a designated service area in Snellville. And then what you would do, I know during the pilot, we had an app. And I believe we're looking into doing the same thing, but for folks who are not comfortable with an app on a smartphone, you can also reserve the trip using the phone. So we'll have a reservation line for that as well. And you essentially just pick your starting location and your destination within the service area, and then you reserve the trip that way. And then once you reserve it, the vehicle comes and picks you up. Now, mind you, it is going to be shared ride service, just like paratransit. So, and it's going to be kind of optimizing trips depending on where people are and making sure it runs in a timely fashion. So because of that, it is going to be a shared ride service. So you'll be on the vehicle with others. Like, it'll be likely that you'll be on the bus with others. But yes, microtransit.
Micro is also door to door.
So microtransit is curb to curb, and I don't know if it is door to door upon request. That I'd have to look into, but I can get back to you on that.
Okay. With that idea of microtransit, I'm sorry, I didn't know the correct terminology.
No problem.
Is there a time limit? Say I asked to be picked up at 7, knowing that I'm sharing this ride. Can I depend upon being at a location at 8? I'm looking at it in terms of a ride to work.
I see. So I believe the answer would be no, in the way that you would have to anticipate that yourself. So you would have to plan the pickup and anticipate for, depending on where it is, I'd say you may have like a little time frame where you'll be on the bus, because the bus may be picking up other people as well, because it's optimizing it. So you would have to anticipate that, and you'd have to kind of plan for it. Does that make sense?
It does. I guess what I'm wondering is, and will there be a defined period of time if I get on the bus that I'm going to get to my destination?
I gotcha.
For lack of a better phrase, maybe a limit to how long I'll be on there.
I don't think it would be extremely long. I don't think, and obviously that helps. It helps because it's in a designated service area, so it's not going way across here and way across here. But that information, as far as like the exact time frame that you may be waiting on the vehicle, I don't have at this time. But as we get, because we're still planning service and we're still doing that sort of, we're still in that planning phase, I can give you that information at a later time.
All right, then let me understand that I also, when I talked about Snellville and Buford, that was commuter, not micro.
Correct. So when I was speaking of commuter service, that is here, let's see, let me go. Do I have a photo? Did I? Yes, this is a commuter bus. So that's what it's a larger bus. It's called an MCI model. These are the ones that pick up at the park and ride locations and take folks to downtown Atlanta. Whereas this vehicle, which is a paratransit vehicle, it's a similar vehicle to what we'll be using for microtransit. So the vehicle will look more like this. And this one operates similarly to how paratransit operates. But it's just, really the main difference is that it will be, instead of the radius being within the whole county, because paratransit is in conjunction with our local bus service, the microtransit will be in the designated service area of whatever city we're operating it in. So we're planning for microtransit in Snellville, Buford, and I know at a later date, I don't have the exact date, but we are planning for it in Tequila. And I'm not sure if we're going to be bringing it to Lawrenceville, but that's way down the timeline. But we're looking at it being, we're starting with Snellville, and then the next place we plan to have microtransit is in Buford. So I hope that answers your question. And I believe it will, we're still in the planning phase. So a lot of it is still getting worked out at this current moment, but we'll have more information as we get closer to the fourth quarter, because we've already placed the order for the vehicles and all of that. So.
Thank you.
Sure.
Destiny, there is a question in the chat. One person said, so is paratransit door to door within Gwinnett County?
Great question. So it is curb to curb and door to door upon request, and that is for the whole county. Now, again, you have to qualify for this service. And I didn't exactly explain the qualification process, so let me do that. So if you go to our website, for example, you can find both the half fare application and the paratransit application on our website. And our website again is gctransit.com. And then you would click on the tab that says accessible services. So from there, you'll find those applications. But what you would be able to do, you could either print it out yourself, or if you don't have access to a printer, you can have it mailed to you, or you can go to the customer service office and pick it up. But essentially, you'll fill out the first part, but then there is a second portion that has to be filled out by your medical care doctor or medical care physician. Once they fill that part out, you then return the application to our customer service office, which is located in Duluth. So you can mail it to them, you can email it to them, or you can bring it in person, whichever works for you. Once you do that, it is a process. They review everything and they determine whether you are eligible to use the paratransit service. Once you're eligible, I don't believe there's a specific Breeze card for paratransit, but the half fare application is similar to paratransit. Actually, it's pretty much almost the same. And the difference is you would get a half fare Breeze card if you're applying for half fare on our service. So you would come in, if you're approved, you would come into the customer service office, you would get your picture taken, and then the picture will then be printed onto your half fare Breeze card, and you would be able to use that whenever you're riding half fare on local service. But with paratransit, I don't believe there is a special Breeze card for that. It might be, I could be wrong. So I may have to check with our customer service office on that. But that is the process as far as qualifying for either half fare or our paratransit service.
And those two cannot be combined.
That's a good question. I am not sure. You know what? I don't see why not. If you want to ride on local and then you want to ride paratransit and you qualify for both. But typically, I think it's paratransit is for folks who can't ride on local bus service. So I will have to double check that. That is a very good question, but I don't see why you wouldn't be able to, but they may have it in opposing, but then again, I don't think it is. I think you would be able to apply for both, but they are two separate processes. So you wouldn't be able to apply for one and then be good to go for the other. You'd have to apply for both. Yeah, I believe you can apply for both. Now that I'm speaking it out loud, I believe that is the case.
Is there any fare reduction for the paratransit service, like the half fare or anything someone can apply for?
Not at this time. Currently for paratransit, that is the set fare for riding. The half fare only applies to our local bus service.
And the difference from, I know door to door, but what does curb to curb mean? Is that like a designated stop or pickup?
Not a designated stop. So instead of it being door to door where they would come to the door and assist you to help you get to the vehicle, you would have to basically get to where that curb of where their parked is in order to get onto the service. So that's what that means.
Dusty, what's the turnaround time between individuals applying for the paratransit service until they get eligible for their paratransit service? Like, is there like a particular time frame, or when do they know that they're eligible?
So I believe there is a time frame. I know sometimes it can vary depending on the different aspects of the application. So I don't have the exact time frame. It really just depends. Sometimes it's a straight shot. It's easy to tell that a person will qualify for paratransit, and other times it may take a little digging and investigating. They may have questions for your doctor, things like that. So it just depends. So I don't have an exact time frame, but I do know I don't believe it takes incredibly long. But I also know that it may not be as quick as some folks may want it to be. So it really just depends.
And how can individuals get the information about travel training? Like who can they contact? Can they go on the website, or
Yes.
is there a particular person that they can contact?
Absolutely. So I'm the main person to contact for our travel training program. I'm the one that operates that program. So you can contact me and I'll give you guys my contact information. But if you can also refer folks to our website, which is gctransit.com, and you click on the customer service tab. From there, there is a little bit on our travel training program, and there's a link to registering for it. And that comes to me as well. So, and you can also call customer service if you want to request it. And again, they'll just route it to me because I'm the one that does it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Does the personal care attendant ride free on the regular local bus like they do for the paratransit service?
No, they do not. So
Okay.
you would have to pay your own fare on local bus service. Good question. And as you guys have more questions, I'm going to go ahead and put my contact information in the chat just so you guys have it. And I'll also say it out loud as well, so to make it easy for folks. So I just put my contact information in the chat for those of you who would like it. But if you are on the phone and you can't see the chat, again, my name's Destiny O'Loughlin. I'm the resources and marketing coordinator for Gwinnett County Transit. And my phone number is 770-822-7447. And my email is my first name, which is Destiny, DESTINY LOUGHLIN as in Nancy at GwinnettCounty.com. And Gwinnett is spelled GWINNETT. So that's GwinnettCounty.com.
Destiny, are you able to share this presentation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just let me know who you'd like me to send it to.
Destiny, if you want to go ahead and send it over to me, I'll send it out to, everyone on this particular call. And then I know some of our teaching staff, I'm sure would be glad to have it as well.
Okay, will do.
Were there anybody else have any questions at all? Some great stuff, great information. So we really, really appreciate your time, Destiny. And I can guarantee you that some of the folks on this call will be getting in touch with you for sure.
I'm looking forward to it.
One more question about the micro transit.
Yes.
I know that you said you're talking about that fourth quarter, so it would be activated first quarter of 2023 for Snellville.
Yes.
Do you have a projected date of Buford?
Let's see. I know that it will be in 2023. Or I know that that is the projection that we're looking at currently. Which quarter, I would not be able to say right now. I want to say by the second quarter,
Go
maybe
ahead
the
and say.
third.
Go
I don't
ahead.
want to be held to that in case my boss is like, why would you tell them that? But I'm definitely confident it will be in 2023. One other thing I can also share with you guys is our monthly newsletter, and I'll put that in the chat as well. So it's called the Transit Bulletin. I write it every month, and it provides information on our service and updates that we have. So I'd highly encourage you guys to sign up for it. It's an email newsletter, and again, it's only once a month, so you don't have to worry about being bombarded with a ton of emails. But I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat as well, but you can access it or sign up for it by going to gctransit.com. So let me go ahead and put that in here. So, and if you sign up for that, I can guarantee you we'll be notifying folks and updating them via the newsletter. So that is definitely a good way to stay in the know of what's going on with Gwinnett County Transit.
When you look at the microtransit, I'm curious whether or not, let's say I was able to get a ride to the 985 park and ride, would the microtransit pick up from there?
That's a great question. Yes, no, that's a great question. And yes, because we will be bringing, not only will we be bringing microtransit to Buford, we're also restarting or revamping the Route 50, which was the local bus route in Buford, and it's going to be serving the Mall of Georgia. So I know that will also expand paratransit, because wherever we have local bus service, we have to have paratransit service. So in Buford, I believe they would be able to pick up from that point, because it is technically, you did you say the park and ride?
I did at 985.
Yes, so that is considered a bus stop. So yes, it would definitely, I'm fairly certain, because that just makes sense as far as planning and connectivity. If folks are already, if they're trying to get to the commuter bus service, that's just a great way to connect to it. So I'm very confident actually that it's definitely going to be in that service area for microtransit.
All right. When would the Route 50 be back on a schedule where we might look at where it does pickups?
Let's see. That also is 2023. But Buford, I believe, is the Buford local bus route. I believe we're looking at planning. As a matter of fact, let me pull it up. I have a whole, because we just had a meeting about it. So I'm going to go ahead and see what our projections are for service. Oh, hold on. Okay, great. I'm going to pull that up. Okay. Let's see. And I'm going to move this. Okay, great. Here we go. Okay. Yes, first quarter for Buford for our local bus route. So then I believe, let's see, here we go. So the Snellville is first quarter, Snellville microtransit is first quarter of next year. It's not listing the microtransit anticipation for Buford, but I believe it won't be too far off from when we begin the local bus service. So I want to say by the second quarter of 2023 is what I want to say. Don't hold me to that, but I believe that is what we're hoping for. And like I mentioned, we've already been placing the orders for the vehicles and everything, so we're on a roll.
Destiny, there was a comment in the chat that said the link to the sign up for the transit bulletin is not working on the actual website.
I actually don't think it was a link. It was just, I just put in the, but I will put the link in. I will do that so I can help, that can help some folks out. Let me do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, I'll do the direct link to sign up for a newsletter. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, try that and let us know if that works. Okay, that did not work. Okay. Let's see. Huh, that's interesting. Okay, let's try this. And if this doesn't work, I would just say visit gctransit.com, and that's where you can find the link.
That link doesn't work either
Okay.
on the website.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's not working. That's the actual link that's on the website. So it's odd that it's not working.
So I just clicked on the link that you put in, Destiny, and it, I was able to sign up.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. So maybe there's
I don't know.
an error on your end, Victoria. I would just visit GC Transit, transit.com. And when you scroll down our homepage, you'll see where it says the transit bulletin. And from there, you can sign up. Any other questions, you guys?
Well, Destiny, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing this information on just Gwinnett County Transit and some of the offerings and supports and services for our students. It was definitely helpful. So if anybody would like to know, we definitely have Destiny locked in for the 22-23 school year as well. And also wanted to let you all know that, along with Destiny, we still have some of our folks that have shared during this school year, and then some other, some business focused folks that are going to be able to join us as well. Pam Bips, our project cert instructor that's on here with us. She's going to be sharing in next year's Parent Academy as well. So we're glad that you were able to join us today, and hope you have an incredible day. We'll stay on in case you have any specific questions. I'll also put my email address in the chat in case you have any specific questions, and I just want to answer that outside of this forum. But thank you so much, and hope you have an incredible day.
Thank you, everyone. And again, feel free to give me a call or an email. I will be happy to help.
Thank you,
If you
Destiny.
just remain
Appreciate
on
your
for
time.
1 moment longer with the Buice Center.
Okay.